give this a look real quick. It's a very precarious streaming setup I have here. Good. I do need to change the name of the game to be PICO-8. Um, sure. Okay. Alrighty. Why not? Oh, come on. Streams. One, two, three, four, five. That's how long this is taking. Forever. Um, oops. Cool. So much two-factor, so little time. Okay, cool. Did my due diligence. Um, uh, close OBS. Cool. Well, this is quite the setup. All right, so making a PICO-8 game. Um, first order of business, we should make a directory for the game. So the premise of this is that I'm going to make a game that will eventually be played on a one of those one of those MAME arcade cabinets. At least that's what I would like to do, is to eventually make an arcade cabinet that runs on like a Raspberry Pi, and then it'll be running a game that I made in the Pico 8. Pretty straightforward, but kind of cool, having your own arcade game on your own arcade cabinet. Um, Seems like a neat little idea. I've seen there's different types of arcade cabinets out there too. There's like the traditional, kind of like, what do you call that? Vertical oriented, vertical orientation of arcade cabinet mostly. But they also have like table ones that are like the screens on the table, which kind of to me seems interesting because I could like double as like a table, I guess, like a neat little activity table, I guess, or whatever. So that'd be kind of an interesting type of arcade game too, if you could make one that is kind of placed on the table. I've seen Pac-Man tables that are like that. So anyway, so yeah, that's the goal. Working on the Pico 8 game right now. Um, as you can see, I've kind of got some pages pulled up, including this here page for game design patterns, game programming patterns rather, just for reference. My background is not necessarily game design, which is why I kind of have that pulled up because I could try to reinvent the wheel, independently conceive of things myself in isolation, or just use existing resources out there just to get kind of general idea for um, design patterns that other like kind of like smaller independent developers utilize. Why not? Why not? No harm in using kind of conventions out there that other people have. Also have the Lua cheat sheet. I haven't used Lua in a bit, so I always forget. So just kind of pull this up, and then yeah, the API reference for it. So okay, we're gonna make a we're so for, so I guess first order of business. I'm not sure how to point this stuff out on the stream. The bottom left thing right next to my window, that's the game, the Pico 8 game console itself. The Pico 8 itself um, is a game. And did I move something? Sorry, I thought I messed up something on my stream. Pico 8 is a game. The Pico 8 is a game, but it's a game that's it's like a meta. It's kind of meta. It's a game about a fictional virtual video game console, kind of like a NES style console that you make games for. So the game is about making games on the console, I guess, in a certain sense. So the console itself kind of has like this virtual CPU, virtual set of hardware, um, virtual in a certain sense, but also practical from the game development perspective. That it has a certain fixed amount of RAM, certain fixed clock speed. So it has like the limitations of like an older NES style game console that you're basically just programming for, and you're making your games on it. So it's kind of nifty. It's like a interesting way of kind of like making a game within certain constraints and limitations. Um, it's kind of fun, at least for people like me, I guess. We're gonna make so the game I'm making. So the intent is again an arcade cabinet game. Uh, I'll start with one that's for my sister and my niece, and also her husband. Them. I'll be making the game for all of them. I'm just gonna call it. What am I gonna call it? Super Shiloh? Cannot make dir. Oh, sorry. Make dir. There we go. Okay. Let's cd into that, and then you can just touch. Oh dear. So .p8 files are the Pico 8 files. I forget how you do the initial. I suppose I just load it up like this, and then I save. Um, so welcome to Super Shiloh, the game I'm making, I guess. Okay, and then I'll call it .p8. Okay, so now that should be there in that directory. Cool. Okay, and so the screen above I have is Visual Studio Code, and that's where I'll try to do most of the coding in there because of the font. It's more readable. Then I can just kind of copy and paste in between the Visual Studio Code and then the actual game console. That way you don't have to do all the coding in the game because coding in this environment less than ideal in my opinion. So this is where you would normally code. So player, I'm writing code right now. That's the player. It's kind of readable, hopefully, but could be more readable. Whereas, um, what are the controls for copy and paste? Should probably pull up another window. Pico 8. Take me to Pico 8. So this is their website. Let's go to, I think their resources is actually what I want. Ooh, a cheat sheet and a manual. So let's open up both of those. There's a whole book. And their community wiki. Okay, let's open that up. And why not that too? Hmm. This is all gonna be very useful. Okay, so this is the manual, and then the cheat sheet. Okay, excellent. Oh man, contacts. Um, pretty sure this is just Lua cheat sheet right now. Command line. Oh, I guess ls and dir both work. That's good. Um, want to figure out how to copy and paste from the code editor. Or if I can just do that. Oh, okay. But does it work the other way? Yes, it does. Okay, cool. I was worried that those keyboard shortcuts would work. Okay. All right. So here I can write a function. Um, okay. And then I could copy and paste that into there, just like that. Um, so I'm trying to figure out what these callbacks are specifically, but you can find that out. Update. That's what I thought. Okay. So there'll be functions. Granted, I could make this the function, then just make update equals game, and that would work. Pretty sure. So I wouldn't necessarily have to do it in one expression if I didn't want to. Sorry, this is besides the point. So I could do, so we're going to want an update function. Um, probably want an init function based off of what I'm seeing here. So I also get the impression um, that it's all caps. So I should be consistent. Ah, dang it. I wonder if it preserves um, the case between copy and paste. Like if I copy this into there and then copy that back out, what's it going to look like? Okay, seems the same. I think that might make for an easy source of a bug, though, but switching back and forth between the two. I might accidentally, um, yeah, interesting. I can see that accidentally causing problems for myself if I'm unaware of the fact that just because it appears to be capital in here, it seems like it actually preserves the case that I bring into there and I bring it back out. But it's not clear, you know, if I made this like capital I, for example, or whatever. Oh wait, it did change things, actually. It makes them all lowercase. Everything appears uppercase, and then when you bring it back out, it goes to lowercase. That's interesting. Not gonna worry about it though. Um, so okay, I'm gonna try to think about how much explaining to do in this stream as opposed to just doing the work. I'll do some explaining. Um, so it's a pretty traditional game loop of having an initialize function, then you just have an update and a draw function. And you want them to be different. You want to have an update and a draw function in your game loop, which is like the core program that will be executing um, asynchronously while you play um, the game. And this function will be called, let's just say before a frame is drawn, that's where you kind of do all the setup for the frame to draw. And then you will then perform my draw command. And they're separate because, how should I put this? They're not necessarily one-to-one. Like you're not always going to be able to call to draw a frame. Sometimes you might miss a frame, right? But you still want the updates to be performed. Um, so setting something up to update doesn't necessarily mean that it will drop, I guess. So you might miss a draw call, and then that's fine. But the next update will call, and then the draw command will just be drawing based off what the current state is. So that's why you might sometimes when frame rates in games go down, that's because draws are missed, but the updates were still performed ideally. Because if they're not independent of each other, then games will kind of like have this really very varied speed to them, if that makes sense. They'll like slow down and speed up, be like, oh, jumpy. Whereas if you want it to be consistent, then the updates should be being called consistently, even if the draw calls are being missed. Draws tend to be expensive. Updates can be too, but you separate them so that they can kind of be independent, so you can kind of prioritize the updates, or at the very least be consistent about it. Also, and your updates should be kind of aware of like the change in time, or they can be written that way, I suppose. They don't have to. Anyway, I'm not sure what I'm saying. Just saving to be careful. Okay, so what is this game going to be? I was actually trying to figure this out. Did my stream die? It's going to refresh. Also should double check the audio. Okay, cool. All right. So, Lua, look at comments. Super Shiloh. That's the name of the game. I'm just calling it that for now. Um, you'll be playing probably as Shiloh. That's my guess. I don't know who you'd be playing as. I'm trying to figure out what type of game it's going to be. Hmm. Hmm. Should it be a platformer like a Mario? Should it be like a Frogger game? No, it should be a Frogger game. Should it be like a Pac-Man game? Hmm. Decisions. Okay. I kind of like the idea of a platformer though. Um, hmm. Well, maybe like a. Trying to think. There's well, well to start, we're gonna have a player. We're gonna have probably gonna have a scene of some shape or fashion. So this is Lua. So here I'm defining variables. Could make these locals, but these should probably be globals. So here I'm defining variables. In programming languages, variables and definitions have a scope. By default, everything's global in Lua, which is kind of shitty. Um, not a great default. Um, which means basically that this definition will persist everywhere. Um, so I could call it from anywhere after this point. Things are kind of dynamically scoped too, so that's another kind of problem with Lua. Um, so we have a player, we're gonna have a scene. So these will just be initialize variables. Okay. think we should have function will have main menu. This will prepare the main menu and set it up and return it. And then we'll probably just call that. And then we'll just go scene dot. So I'm trying to think if I'm going to have this abstraction of kind of like scenes. Um, yeah, why not? Show, like this. So they'll have like a show function. We'll just make it a dot. So Lua is kind of funny. Another interesting thing about Lua is how there's, in programming languages, you can have data types. You can invoke fields or variables. Um, so, and you might see both of these. The dot, you can have like access fields and variables with a dot syntax. So within this scene object, access this show method and invoke it. That's what this would kind of mean to like most people that program. But you might also see this and oops, that, and they're kind of similar, but there's actually an important difference between those two invocations. And this invocation of the method um, is kind of, you can think of it as being a static invocation, I guess, of the method. Whereas this invocation, oops, of a method calls it and implicitly passes like the instance into, as a parameter into the method behind the scenes. So there's like an implied self that this method belongs to, that this method can kind of refer to the self inside of its definition, and the self is going to be this scene, as opposed to this invocation, which would lack that. Anyway, it's a weird Lua thing. Um, okay. Or maybe we'll just do start. Wondering if persisting the scene is really going to be useful. If, or really, you're just always going to either be in a scene or transition to another scene. Anyway, um, doesn't matter. I suppose we do, because then we could do scene.update. And then scene.draw. Which means that whatever we do with our scenes, they're going to have these calls in them too. So this all makes sense to me. Yeah, I think persisting this does make sense, because then we can also kind of change scenes. Having to start them kind of seems unnecessary. I think that should be implied when prepping the scene. It should just already, it should only be, it should just be set already initialized. That makes sense to me. Okay. So the main menu. Um, what will we do with the main menu? Let's copy and paste this in and to see what we got. Ja. Okay. Can I just save? Okay, yeah, cool. And let's go through some of the other editors in here now. So we've kind of got this code, we've got a scene. Um, hmm. This is going to be a table. So we're just going to create the menu. So we're just going to create a menu scene right now, a main menu. Um, Define a local table. We'll give it a draw function, table dot. And because so Pico has limited memory, so we have this limited number of lines of code that we have. We're already at 30 out of 8,192. So kind of like eliminating padding at some point is kind of like necessary, I think, in like a lot of this code, which is kind of funny. Um, we have an update function. Again, these might not do much, and then we're just gonna come on table. Yeah, so basically we create. So everything is tables in Lua. There's not really. It's not. I mean, it's kind of object oriented, but kind of not. Um, there's a few literal types that exist in the language, like strings, numbers, and then there's tables. Even arrays are tables. Like so, you'll see this cheat sheet. There's like this type here, but arrays are tables. So like referring to them as being distinct is kind of strange within the context of the language itself. Um, so tables are kind of like a dictionary type, which is like a mapping of key value pairs in a collection, um, which is very different than a traditional array in a more lower level language, I guess. Um, okay, so should probably swap the update the draw. Imagine we're going to have like a hit a button to start type of a deal thing going on here. Um, Probably draw something in the background. I don't know. You can figure that out. But we're definitely going to have some text. So I'm thinking, I'm trying to remember if there is a delta time global variable that exists, which is very handy in the Pico-8. Let's see. All this is pretty cool. APIs, commands. What is this? I think I already have that pulled up. Commands. Ah, yeah, I got that. Um, Reference category. Okay, we're gonna go with time. Since the Pico-8 was last started. It's a fractional number. Hmm. Let me figure what they mean by a fractional number. They mean a floating point number? I'm assuming that's what they mean. I wonder if Lua is one of those languages where all numbers are floating point numbers. There's not really an integer type, which is kind of scary to me because then having an equality operator with their numbers is meaningless. So it's an upper limit of, oh, geez. Okay, so it represents the number of seconds. It is a floating point number. So it goes up to 9 hours and 6 minutes. Wonder what happens when you reach that point. Does it just kind of wrap around? T is a short alias for time. I mean, this is helpful. Okay, so we're going to have um, dt, delta time, basically. Or maybe I'll have, actually, what we should do. Um, t equals. Wait, that's already a definite. It's an alias they already have. I should probably not use that. Can't use t or time because they've used both of those bastards. Um, kind of don't like the scoping of this, but whatever. Let's do this. Start time equals time. I'm gonna use time because that's more expressive. Okay. Then we could do function, and then we'll do updated time. Okay. This will, we're gonna use this to calculate the delta time. Um, hmm, this presents a problem. If last time 0, so we're gonna set. I guess I could do nil. I think that is an expression that's allowed in Lua. Actually, don't really like having nulls though. But so we're gonna keep track of like a current time value and then like a last check time to calculate the change in time. Um, and actually the init function should account for that, so we don't even need to set that to nil, but I'll do it there anyway. Um, so last, so what we really want to do is, if this is our first update, basically, if updated time, think that variables are truthy. Okay, so what we're basically doing here is if we're saying, if this is not our first update, then we're going to set the last time to be what the current value of the update is. This is what a truthy statement is, I believe, in Lua. So if this number is not empty, i.e. not this nil value, then we're going to set the last time to be the previous value and then set the current value to be the current time and then move on. Okay. And then we should probably just make a helper method function dt. And then that will just get us the change in time. Um, Trying to remember if what the logic, if there's some funny business with how logic works in Lua. Do. If you, trying to remember if it's like you say and, or if it's and, if it's basically like Python, or if it's like C. I'm just trying to. It's been a while. Come on. It's been so long since I've used Lua. I'm thinking it's this though. So this is how you say and. This is how you do Boolean logic. We're saying, and again, these are going to be truthy. So if last time and updated time. So these both have to be present basically. Um, then the delta time is going to be um, updated time, oops, minus last time. It's going to be the difference between the two. Else you're going to return nil. Actually, how does... So you do, this is the funny thing about Lua to me. You do if condition then, else condition then, else but not then. Does it make, again, why is it not else then? Like it just seems inconsistent as a language to me. Anyway, so we'll just do this just to be a bit more explicit, I guess. Still want to know if I'm doing ands right. That's the main thing here. Come on. Well, anyway. Okay. The reason why I'm doing this is because on the opening menu you do kind of want some like idle menu animation, which is going to require needing that delta time. And I'm thinking that our update functions should have the delta time. Okay. I wonder if that's smart to do that in the draw call, actually. Hmm. Or if you could actually, interesting. Or just kind of like have a new updated time equals time. So because of the differences between the update calls and the draw calls, because you might miss a frame, you might want to have like a unique DT for the change for the time between draw calls that's separate from the time between the update calls, but is still based off of the previous update. If that makes sense. That might be useful. We'll see what that amounts to. Um, Seems like there's not really a use in persisting it based off of my access patterns here. So previously we were concerned about setting the last call time to be what it currently is, which makes sense for the update call. But I think for the draw call, we're just going to keep the last time to be um, the last update. So this will be the time from the last update and draw. That makes sense. Again, I'm not sure how useful this is. We'll see. Might change my mind about doing it this way. Hmm. Okay. So we got all that stuff. We got menu. This is going to take a DT. It's going to take a DT. Um, so what will the main menu do upon update? Local text. We'll say begin game. Sorry, I'm used to different languages. This is going to be the begin game text. That seems kind of unnecessary. As a local, just have it draw. So we're going to go to the Lua API reference. Get the ability to set colors, to draw text somewhere, I assume. Um, it's a camera position. This is to draw sprites. Um, button. This is handling button inputs. Um, memory operations. I think it might just be a print function, to be honest, but they should move that into the draw calls if it is, because it's resulting in a draw being performed. They have coroutines now? Hmm. Menu item. What is this? Adds a custom item to the PICO-8 menu. Huh, that's interesting. That's useful to know. So I guess there's like a main PICO-8 menu. Um, that's good to know about. That's cool. I didn't even know about. You can save GIFs. There's a pause button, eh? Don't even have to implement my own pause. That's nice. Okay. This is how you do music and stuff. Pico 8 raw text. They call it debug, but you also want text on screens outside of a debugging context. I feel like that's kind of not. Well, wait. Hold on a second. Where's this their regular print statement at? Oh, there it is. Okay. Hidden all the way down there. Okay. Whew, okay. So we're going to print Um, start at a certain position on the screen. Um, trying to remember the Cartesian coordinate system. Oh, we got adds here. Gather away adds. Um, if it starts from like the top of the screen, so at y equals 0, you're at the top, or at y equals 0, you're at the bottom. I don't know. I guess we just figure that out. Let's just go down 50 and see what's up there. Also not sure how big the screen is, so 50 might be too much. I don't know. Let's just go down 10 and then over 10. And the color to use, yes. Let's do, what are colors? Magnets. No, but seriously, what are colors? Um, color numbers, got it. I think I can find that out here. How do I get the number? It's memory mapped, yeah. I think these are actually the colors too. So I could make the color red. Hold on. Oh, these are this is the sprite batch. Where do I go to? Remember there's somewhere that you can go to look at the colors. Oh, I see. So down below on in the Pico console, at the very bottom, you can kind of see when I hover over something, this says color 12. That's color 0, it's color 1. So if I want red, for example, it would be color 8. Okay. And this should happen in the draw call. So I'm wondering, hmm, so if we want to have like a pulsating color thing going on here, um, let's go back to the print statement here. Don't want new lines. Just trying to think what would look weird. Selected. So this is going to be like the menu option, because maybe there's going to be multiple menu options. Though really, I think it's just going to be one. Ah, anyway, it's going to be a number. We're going to have an enumerated list of options. There'll be start, um, what is after start? What am I going to do? Have a help menu option? I think I'm overcomplicating this. It's just going to be one. Yeah. Okay. But that is fine. Um, we'll just have this blink state, I guess, equals 0. Okay. And then we're going to do blink state equals dt divided by 2. So you'd think you divide a number by 2, or if you did the modulus 2. If that's even a valid operator in Lua. I don't know. What is that? Is that the percent sign? That's a percent sign. Okay, so there is a modulus operation. Okay, cool. So you'll be bounded to numbers between 0 and 0 or 1. How does this work with floating point numbers with the modulus? I don't know. Okay, then we'll just do link less than 1. Oh wait, there's not an if else statement in Lua. Color equals, we decided on 8. So it's gonna switch between that one and that one. 2 different shades of pink, I guess. I don't know. I guess I could do 2 different shades of green. 3 and 3 and 11. Kind of like that actually. Okay. So we're just kind of like toggling between these. So init, initialize the scene, do all this nonsense, draw some text. This all seems good. I'm gonna have okay. Paste over all that. Sure, nothing will go wrong. This will just work the first time. Um, oh, here we go. Run. Unexpected symbol. Okay. Lua and logic. I think it is just saying and as opposed to. There we go. That's all I wanted to know. Stupid quick start guide. Okay. And that's what we want. I would prefer just doing the 2 and symbols, but whatever, that's just me. Just cranky about Lua, I guess. Okay. It's a nil value. I suppose I should have checked that. Got it. Wondering if we always perform this. No, because we already had it last time. That's right. I need to run clear. Go back to this. Is that it? That's what we want. Okay. We want to clear the graphics buffer on update. There we go. Let's see if it works, the toggle. Doesn't seem to be working. Maybe it's just very subtle to me. Doesn't seem to be working. Okay. Let's go back to this. So we have the updates. Oh God, what happened there? Okay. So we got the calculated delta time, blink state. Delta time. Kind of curious what the print H. Let's see what that is. Where does that print H statement show up? I wonder. I'm just gonna be lazy here. I think that's a function. ToString. Just want to see what values we're getting for the delta time anyway. Okay. I guess if I'm always doing the mod 2, oh, I think I see my problem here. I'm being stupid. Because we're not accumulating anything. Which makes sense, I guess. We'll just call this that should be unnecessary. I'm being stupid. That's really what I wanted to do all along. So we're just taking the current value. We're adding the delta time, modding it by 2. Okay. There we go. The delta time seems to be pretty consistently, yeah, a fraction of like 30 frames per second, or 60, no, 30. that number looks exactly like 1 over 30, right? Give or take something. No, calculator. I'm checking my calculator to do some maths. Okay. Now let's go back to having the menu say start. Okay, that's what you want. Probably want that centered. I wonder if there's a way to make the text bigger too in the print statement. You would think there would be. Um, Press X. I'm just going to say press X to start. That seems like that's probably something I should probably say. Interesting. Seems like there's multiple ways to do strings in Lua, similar to Python and other scripting languages. Wonder if there is other ways to increase the font size. I kind of wonder if setting the color in the print statement changes the color state, though. There's some there's a side effect there, I wonder. Let's see. Printing at coordinates. Yep, yep. Okay, that's good to know. So they're saying that the width is 128. That makes sense. So you're going to be going at the center minus, um, wouldn't you want that to be half of the string size? Well, anyway, yeah, half the character width. Hmm. Yeah, anyway, we haven't done that much. We've only printed text at this point. Got the blink. Um, it's exciting. A lot of this is just reading documentation and figuring out this stuff. Um, wonder why you can't increase the font size. That's obnoxious. Okay, so this is going to be the background color. Want to make sure this isn't some function. Yeah, okay. Make sure it's like because of all the globals in Lua, it's like you have to be careful what you name variables because you might just override some global that's defined and screw yourself. Um, let's see. Cool. Okay. You can draw some shapes maybe, get some pretty it up a bit. Let's just borrow their code for centering the text. I kind of like that. So they're just doing 64 minus. Um, this is how you get the size of an array in Lua, or a table, rather. Um, I'm not sure why they're multiplying it by 2. I need to think about that for a second. And then this is moving it towards the bottom, basically. So they're kind of like moving it down. Oh, it's kind of hard to see. So 64 is half the screen width. So this is moving into the middle, actually. I see it's 128 by 128. See, moving over halfway. Subtracting size of the text times 2. Yeah. Okay, that's centered. Um, 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 um. So we're calculating a blink state. At some point, we're going to want to also kind of deal with controller input. So maybe you want to create a local function. Handle input. We'll just put that there. And here's where we're going to figure out kind of like how to deal with, when you're pressing buttons. So we want to say if button X button. I guess you can pass in an array of buttons. So X is 5. I think we're just doing that. So this is main menu. Conceivably, we're going to have function level 1. This is going to be a pretty simple game, I think, for now. We're just keeping things basic. Turn level 1. Actually, I'm sorry, we're not returning that at all. Scene is going to be level 1. Which presents an interesting problem. Um, hmm. So we could be changing the scene. Um, so this scene has an update that gets called, which could then be changing the scene. So this could be setting the scene global variable to be the level 1 or whatever. Do I want to pass in um, hmm, I think we're good. I'm going to worry about it too much. Okay. So this is going to be the main menu. Level 1. Okay. All right. We can get some more graphics on the start menu too while we're at some point. Maybe you can get, I'll just draw like a logo or something. Or super shallow, the game. Oh yeah, everything's becoming lowercase. Wonder if even my text becomes lowercase. Where's my text at? Okay, good. That got preserved. Maybe. Um, okay. So if you hit the X button, you go to level 1. That makes sense. Okay. I want to take a brief break, get some lunch. Let's pause my stream. Cool. Alrighty. Get this party started. Oh. Not really party. Psych. Of course. Inside out. Trying to see if there's going to be a convenient way to strap this on. I think there is. Okay. I suppose the other option would just be to stow it somehow. Just a bit trickier. But can be done. Maybe not comfortably, but trying to decide if that's going to stay. Yeah, kind of.
Like a long week.
I got these from Walmart. $15.
Oh, the Walmart one?
No, these are, have the regular ones too, but I like these more.
Yeah, it was like sick. I just wanted to do the get up on the bike.
Yeah. Yeah, these are like $16. I got them at Walmart.
Alrighty. I think I have gloves too. Somewhere. Just do a photo shoot in the middle of the goddamn trail. Sorry. I'm noticing that's a growing trend. Photo shoots and all these goddamn trailheads. It's weird. Okay. Pretty nice weather. It's clear. Snowpack's good. I think now that the ski resorts are open, there's less concern with the touring skiers, running into you on this trail, because they'll probably be skiing up in the resorts, hopefully. We'll see. Whew. Oh, look at that view. That's nice. Let's get some of that camera. Huh. Nice. Okay. Okay. Just having a nice light snack of cheese and crackers, summer sausage, and coffee. Whew. I should probably exercise more today. Meh. Or not. Okay. So let's see where we are at. Starting the actual game proper. Got through the main menu. It's a lot of dropped frames. I'm at 20, like 1/4 of my frames are being dropped right now. Okay. So, if I understand this correctly, Lua array size. Or length. There's an operator for it. Yep, that's right. So that's the length of the array. So I'm trying to figure out why it's multiple. Why it's multiple two to center it. And it's 128 wide. You start at 64, and you subtract twice the number of text. I guess that's because I would have thought it would have been divided by 2. I just want to see what that looks like. I'm not saying that this is what we should do, but in my head, that's what I would imagine you'd want to do to center it. Oops. No. Okay. So 64 is the halfway mark. Let's move over there. Okay. No big deal. Anyway. Hmm. Okay, going back to this now. So we're doing level 1. Wait. We're going to make it a table. Table.draw equals function. Okay. So we have an update and a draw function. Table dot could have a player, but I think I'm fine with that being a global at the moment. Let's see. More cheese and crackers. Hmm. This is programming slash mukbang. Is that what it's called when people eat food? Camera? I don't know. I don't watch that shit. Okay. So when creating the level, player dot pause equals. I think that's how you can initialize tables. Yeah. So you can initialize tables like this, I believe. But we don't want those positions. We want them to be like center of the screen, maybe. Player.pause. I'm going to make this a very simple game to deal with. I'm not going to deal with like an entity component system or anything like that, any complicated game design patterns like that. But we do want to have like animation states though, stuff like that. Player. Okay, so we're going to define some globals here. We're going to call this idle. So define animation states. Moving state equals 1. Let me think about this. Jumping state. What? I guess this is going to be like a Mario game, I suppose. So you can idle, you can move, you can jump. All right. I like this so far. So these are like, again, these are animation states. Maybe we'll just make them states, and then animations can kind of be coupled with states, but other things can be coupled with states too. So we just really want to know what the player state is, and then we can figure out the animation from the player state. You're idle, you're moving, you're jumping. Your damaged state. Hmm. Um, Powered, we're gonna power up state, or maybe, sorry. Um, let's figure this out. Let's think of that for now. And then layer.state. Actually, we'll do that. Okay, that'll be an idle state. I'll position there. Player dot. We'll just say this is gonna be at the number of hearts they have, maybe. Start with 3 hearts. Okay. This is like health, basically, so. Don't worry, there's not like death in this game. It's just more of a, I don't know what happens when you reach 0 hearts, but it's fine. Player dot, let's see. So for now, we know that they have a position. Um, Another thing to keep in mind is there's a screen space position, but then there's kind of like an absolute, more absolute position. So if we're doing scrolling maps, for example, where they're at in the screen and where they're at like in a level are kind of like 2 different things. So you can make everything either relative to the screen or meaning everything takes place in a screen space or everything takes place in a world space and you're translating between the two. Um, so this position might mean different things, I guess. So that's one thing to I'll probably need to figure out. I kind of like the idea though of just kind of like when kind of like switching screens, you're just kind of loading a new screen, drawing a new one. So you start the game with 3 hearts in idle state at position. And you know what? Maybe it's more like towards the left of the screen. We can figure that out later. You'll be moving right, Um, table dot screen equals 0. So a level might consist of like a couple screens. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Hmm. Like a function for loading screens. So you just kind of give it a level on a screen. So there's kind of an association between levels and screens. Um, then that will presumably return it. Okay, let's see. Trying to decide. Let's see. Okay. Hmm. Wonder if we could do something fancy where we can kind of just like do like a pan to the next screen. Um, Kind of like that idea. For now, we'll just do that though. Let's see. Which to me, that means that the player.pause will just be index starting from 1. Um, I think Lua is 1 index by default. Whatever. Level 1, screen 1, we'll just do it that way. Okay. Dot pause equals table dot screen dot start pause. So we're gonna have the player start at the screen starting position. Okay. And then we can define some screens and stuff, I guess. But I'll need to figure out how to do that. So we set them up, get them at the starting position, give them a state, start them in an idle state, I guess. Hmm. Kind of wonder if they can kind of abstract over levels. More generally. We'll just keep this for now though. Okay. Not sure what I'm doing with this. Just working through this, figuring out what I'm doing. I'll take us to the level. All seems good for now. We'll update the screen. Screen.draw dt. And then we'll draw the player after that. Player.draw. Okay, so we'll have a function update player. We kind of give it maybe a delta time and a screen. And then it figures out where the player's moving and on that particular screen if they're colliding with something maybe. All right, let's see. Cool. Button 0, then basically go through the else if. I think that's how it goes. So these are kind of like the cardinal directions here. Pretty sure that's how else if statements work. Yep, okay. Instead of elif, which is, what is that, Python? I forget. Okay. Left. Right. Wait, is that right? Yes. Up. Down. Okay. And then what we can do, and actually, I think we really want these all to be if statements. Because you can press multiple directions simultaneously if you want. So we're going to do up equals, I'm sorry, what am I doing? Up and right. So if you're pressing left, that means right equals right minus 1. Right equals right plus 1. So if you plus left, then right will be -1. Makes sense? Whereas if you're simultaneously pressing left and right, then you'll just be at 0, which makes sense, I guess. Pretty sure there's not a plus equal operator in Lua, but maybe they have like a special version of the Lua language for Pico that supports it. Sometimes they do stuff like that. Or I'm sorry, up equals up minus 1. Okay, cool. Player.dt. I'm sorry. Um, because it's going to be velocity, isn't it? Delta V. It's going to call it delta. Dx equals right. dy equals up. Okay. So we're kind of calculating the change that they want to make. Um, times delta t maybe? Just coming from there. This is a platformer though, so now that I think about it, it's really just going to be dx. Unless you press a jump button. So we're going to do some math to figure out how jumping works, how the arc and trajectory of that stuff is. But for now, let's keep things simple. Um, so we want, let me think. I think X should be the jump button. We're going to set them to be jumping. I wonder if that's a state we should have. Oh yeah, we do. Jumping state. Okay. Hmm. Alrighty, let's see. Let's figure out how the jumping state works. Or how jumping is going to work in general. This is pretty code heavy for now. I'm going to copy this into here so far. But it might help to actually just start drawing a character first. So let's just do it. Let's draw super shallow. Ah, yes. There we go. That's from one angle, I suppose. Okay. And then, remember how you copy and paste. Okay. Let's see. Got moving feet, you know. Needs a little bit more than that though. So you're kind of like, oops, no, somebody's trying to toggle between these. I'm not sure what's going on with that animation. 1 second. How do you do a run? Fix that. Now, like the eye color thing. That looks good. Okay. That looks weird. Um, maybe that. Not sure what I'm doing. Okay. Again, not sure what that is. Just gotta figure out how to make it look normal. Kind of like that. So I do kind of feel hmm, like this is slightly off center. Okay. See, I like this. Interesting. Maybe maybe this is like the standing still position. Okay. So I just wanted to swap them out. So this will be idle. Oops. This is like you're moving, facing that way kind of. And now we can figure out how to do idle animations more easily. Okay. So I'm thinking the way that this idle would probably work would mostly just involve a, that seems weird. Like blinking or something? Seems weird. Oops. There you go. Okay. So when you're moving, you'll be in this frame. You're standing still, you'll be in this frame. So you let go of any movement keys. It's kind of like facing the camera. Otherwise, you'll be facing it that way, or we'll just kind of flip it and you'll be facing that way. Okay. Seems good. Okay. Pretty sure this is like a... Yeah, this is like a little map editor thing. So you can kind of prototype stuff. So now let's start designing like environmental stuff. So like what would the ground look like, you know? We'll make the ground brown-ish, maybe? Oops. Some really loud neighbors. Okay. Hmm. Just doing a checkerboard here. Hmm. I don't know, I kind of like this. Let's see. So we can make like a ground tile like that. And go to the map editor here. We could be... Oh, could just do that. Um, how do I delete? Oh, wow. Hmm. Okay. Back to the tiles. That's one tile. Um, Here's another tile we'll make. Or actually, you should just do that. Okay. Oh, those people are so fucking loud. Okay. So now you do this. You just do that. Bing. Kind of like that. Okay. Sweet. Okay. Um, so we have tiles. What else we want? Let's see. This is like a floor tile. I feel like we can probably have background tiles at some point, but figure that out later. Other things we might want, other versions of this tile. That. Okay. Cool. There's probably more efficient way to store these tiles, but whatever. It's all good. I could try to have like way more variety of these tiles too to cover like all these eventualities, but nah. Other things that you can do is programmatically draw things, which you might be able to use to kind of overcome some of the memory limitations of the number of tiles you have. Like here, you kind of see we have a set amount of available tiles, whereas if you could just kind of use memcopy draw calls, you could conceivably um, do more with less, we'll just say, but I don't want to overthink it. Um, that, okay. can do some beginning platforming stuff. Could look better, I'll be honest. We're still figuring this out. Okay. So to me, this seems like a scene. What is this? Oops. Oh, interesting. How far down I can go. So this is at 0, 0, 0. Hmm. So this must be Y, this must be X. So I move, oops. So I pan. Now at 7, 8, 9, so 16. Hmm. Okay, well, I'm gonna take a break, go out for a walk. I've been sitting down for too long. I was gonna do a little bit more research on what this even is. I get the impression this is like a map screen. Um, which if this is the case, this might make scrolling easier to deal with. Scrolling maps. Interesting. Huh. Good to know. Okay. Well, I'm gonna pause the stream for now. Maybe come back in a couple hours.